Thank you all for joining us, both panelists and those listening in. We're super excited about talking about fundraising, right? Maximizing the impact you can have via FEVO with fundraisers. So without further ado, we'll kind of get jumping here. So first, I'll just introduce our panel, guys. My name's Aaron. Hopefully, a lot of you guys probably know me, but I'm one of our EVPs for Partner Success and work really, really closely with a lot of our partners specifically all throughout different ecosystems of it. But yeah, want to introduce, we'll start with you, Tessa, if that's okay. Can you just give a quick background on yourself, what you do with Atlanta United?
Of course. Hi, everyone. Tessa Geyer with Atlanta United. I'm the manager of group sales for the club here. I've been with the organization for around 6 years, and my team oversees our group initiatives, outings, experiences, and of course, fundraising efforts with the club as well. So excited to join the conversation today.
Awesome. Tessa, thanks so much for joining. Obviously, really for all three of you guys, but specifically you and David, really kind of a heavy time schedule-wise. So really, really appreciate you jumping on. Blake, you're up next. Would love to hear kind of what you do at South Carolina and look forward to speaking with you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Blake Woodward here with the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm the assistant athletics director for ticket sales. Been here for a little over 7 years. My team here, we focus on new season tickets, but more importantly, group sales. And with that comes some fundraising opportunities with the FEVO pages that we set up. But looking forward to chatting. I'm filling in for Dan Stahl. Everyone's jealous. He is at Augusta National right now for the par 3 contest. So in preparation for the Masters, but I'm filling in. But that's where Dan is right now.
Yeah, I think we won out on that. We were talking before we jumped on here about how we were hoping it was raining on him, but it looks like it's actually a beautiful day. So, Dan, if you rewatch this, we're all jealous and angry at you, but that's okay. David, last but not least, thank you again. Obviously, super busy time for you. I was at a ball game last night. I know how wild your schedule is right now. So thank you so much for taking the time. If you wouldn't mind just walking through kind of your role and what you're going to bring to the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. We got our home opener this Friday, and Ohtani's on the hill today. So we got a lot of exciting things going on. But David Newman, I'm the senior ticket sales manager with Angels Baseball. I've been at the organization coming up on 7 years now. And in my current role, I oversee both our inside sales team and our group sales team.
Awesome, guys. So I think there's a lot of crossover in what you guys do, but obviously different segments and also a little bit of variation. So super excited to kind of dig in on all of that. Yeah, we've got a couple slides here and then we'll kick it to you guys. But overall, guys, or audience, I guess more than you folks as you've seen this, but FEVO's really, really become this kind of massive fundraising tool for a lot of partners. We're up near around 700 partners, most in the sports world, but across other elements as well. But over $8.3 million have been raised through FEVO and for charitable or different type of organizations. And 43% of that, those who are better at math than me can do that, but probably pushing around close to 4 million last year, just in 22 alone, right? And we plan to grow that obviously this year. It's a really, really impactful tool. And I think, in the days of sales right now, just kind of hand-to-hand combat is more difficult than it's been, right? People don't answer the phone. People don't necessarily want to speak through that. So, I think we provide a tool, and you guys can speak to it because you've all used it really, really well, that can enable that fundraising and that social element and that growth really, really well. We put this together, give back to your community, attract new fans with fundraisers. Obviously, schools, organizations, youth sports, religious organizations, et cetera, they're always fundraising, whether that's, charitably, whether that's for different school uniforms, jerseys, all these different things that people look to do with different funds. And I think, presenting your organization as an outlet for that is a really, really important component to this, right? We all do this. We've all done this in group sales for quite a while, but I think what's sometimes been lacking is how does your fan know that they can use you as a tool, right? How do they know that I can fundraise with Angels baseball, with South Carolina, with Atlanta United, or whatever your organization may be out there. So it's really, really important, and we'll talk about this later, but really important that we work with our marketing team via email, social, in ballpark, in stadium, in arena, et cetera, on how you present that and how you let your fans and your partners know about all these things. Here's an example of what the University of Kansas is doing, and it's part of our new tech and what we're presenting. So a lot of you guys on the call have probably already seen this, but if you haven't, we actually now have right in the purchase flow, right? So after I add, and this is kind of a unique one where they're doing it, they're selling lockers because they're renovating the locker room. Right here, kind of in the middle of the right screen, you can actually give a gift within, right? And so it's also a fun way or an easy way to fundraise for a specific organization or your own charity or development wing, if you're speaking the college world, right here within the purchase flow. And so I think that's a new, unique way, but a great outlet for both internal type of fundraising, especially probably Blake more in your lane or your world. And then, you could partner with XYZ school, whatever, and I could give additional amount if it's already built in there. So kind of a new function. And then the last tech side of things, and I think this is a video, it'll play through here. People have been clamoring for this for a long time. I used to be on the client side. I wanted this as well. We've actually now built in where if it is a fundraiser, you can automatically enter all that information, and it just populates. We push out the check for you really, really easily, as opposed to kind of going back and forth and doing all of that. So we've had people I know who've asked for this for a long time. Some probably think it's no big deal, but for me, it's super exciting. And so we wanted to showcase it right there. All right, enough from me. Tessa, super excited. We're going to start with you. We got a few slides for you, but kind of just talking through some of the unique ways you guys have used FEVO's tech to really help different organizations in a fundraising manner. So I'll let you take it from there.
Thank you, Aaron. So as he alluded to, a lot of different avenues that we can fundraise through. I'm going to talk specifically on how Atlanta United is using school districts and particularly K through 12 schools to fundraise. I'll share some examples and stats on the impact that these fundraisers are having, and then ultimately kind of share why we're using FEVO to do all of this. So when it comes to United and what we're doing over here, we really break up our school districts into two buckets. We have our district offers, which span out to schools throughout the entire district, covers a lot of area. And then we have our individual PTA, PTO offers, which are more school focused and go directly back to the school. So I'll jump into some examples, but that $100,000 plus dollars, that's what we've raised over the course of several years. But I'd say that majority of these are through our school programming and initiatives that we're doing. So if you go to the next slide, cool. So this is a example from our home opener we did back in February. We raised over $8,000 for a district offer. At this match, we do this for every home opener every year, so it's really impactful, and we'll do this for at least one more this season for our back to school initiatives in August. We love these fundraisers because of the outreach ability that it has. So at least here in the Atlanta landscape and market, a lot of our districts are pretty large. They're serving hundreds of thousands of kids at one time. So when we get these offers and we're working with these group leaders that cover that landscape, it's hitting a large audience. One thing to point out with these contacts, and we're working with a lot of executive directors of sorts and communication folks within these organizations, but a lot of these, while they're affiliated with the school, they're actually kind of subcategories of the school. So they're foundations that, in a sense, their role is to raise money for school and to better their education. So they are nonprofits that we work with, and a lot of these funds are going directly back to providing school lunches for children, scholarships for high school seniors, funding for programs with schools with disabilities. So the fact that we can do that on a macro scale just by working with these group leaders, creating these offers is pretty incredible. And I'll jump into the PTA as well. Cool. So one area we're trying to get a little more intentional on this season is working directly with PTAs and individual schools to make sure those funds are going directly back to the schools that want to raise funds and need those funds as well. So with the help from our marketing team, we launched this program at the beginning of this season, targeted PTA presidents and fundraising chairs to fully promote this. And it's been very impactful so far. We've had a few offers already and a few in the works this season that we're working on. And it's really, really easy to build out. Our reps work with the president or fundraising chair, pick a night, set up the link, set up the offer, and then it's in their hands from there to set up and send out to the community. So we joke around a little bit like with groups that are trying to meet their fundraising goals and making sure if they're behind a little bit, how we can turn this around for you in 24 hours. So it's super simple to do and impactful as well. And then one thing I'll point out as well, which I think is really exciting about this program, is our additional benefits tier. So this we implemented not only just to reward our groups we're working with and that want to fundraise with us, but also encourage fundraising. So these PTA presidents and chairs, a lot of times their kids, of course, are working or are part of the school system itself. So it really encourages the community to get involved and make sure these kids can participate in fun experiences, get autograph items and stuff like that. So again, this program is growing. I think as we get more into this over the season, it'll be one of our biggest.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I have a quick question. Sorry for you, Tessa.
Yeah, of course.
As far as reaching these groups, right? Like, I think what you're putting together here is brilliant. As a spouse of a PTO president, she's got a lot on her plate in trying to figure these things out. So I've kind of lived that side of it. But how do you guys go about sort of finding the PTO presidents within your Atlanta Metroplex or area around you? How have you guys been successful in doing that, or have you been? Do you think there's more you could reach, or what's your take there?
Yeah, so we kind of get old school with it. We do a lot of self-prospecting, looking at individual school websites, finding out who the new PTA contacted. And that is one thing to point out, like these contacts year over year are changing pretty frequently. So each year you have to be intentional about making sure that is still the right contact to reach out to. So it's that, and then the help of our marketing team, which this example on here is one that we email targeted out to school principals and PTA. So if we can at least get to some contact as a principal or someone like that in the school, they usually can get us in the hands of who we need to work with and who is trying to raise the funds as well.
Awesome, that's great. No, I love the flyer kind of digitizing. I think it's really, really impactful. So just kind of what I even spoke about earlier, right? Like, people don't want to answer the phone anymore. You probably don't have a PTO president's phone number anyway. So reaching them and making it compelling is super important, for sure. I know we talked through a little bit of this. You want to run through this slide real quickly?
Yeah, for sure. I think just for us, why we're using FEVO, it really broke it down into 4 areas: process, exclusivity, sales tracking, and payment. We love using it. I think process as a whole, not only for the PTA or the group leader or the district leader, but for the end user as well. It's super simple. So obviously we work together, find a match that works, but we do the work. We're monitoring the inventory, we're doing all this stuff. And then that leader is really reaping the benefits of raising these funds. And you can raise as much or as little depending on the efforts you're bringing into the community. Exclusivity. This is one that, a lot of our reps they don't have a creative background, right? So the reps that are working on these, it helps us tremendously to have a platform like FEVO that's easy to navigate, that offers these promotional codes, interchangeable photos where we can get real personalized with the links. So we love that part of it. And then sales tracking, as we're building these relationships with these organizations and raising this money, it's important for us and for them in real time to see how these things are going and understand, hey, we're at 100 tickets sold, 50 more, and you'll hit this tier or whatever it is. But that real time ability to give that feedback in just minutes is awesome. And then lastly, just payment. We see this so easily done throughout the process of working with you guys and working with FEVO. After the event wraps up, people are coming out to the matches, enjoying it. Within days, that payment is sent directly back to the organization. So they're seeing that in real time and easy time as well. So overall, just a huge program that we're excited for and ready to grow over the next couple of years.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I think you point out a ton of different reasons to, if you make it easy for them, we try to make it easy for you. And, it's sort of symbiotic in that way. Perfect. Thank you so much, Tessa. I'm sure we'll have questions and come back to you here shortly.
Cool. Thank
Blake,
you.
Blake, let's jump in with you a little bit here. Obviously, you guys have done a ton of stuff at the University of South Carolina, and we've got several examples here, but I'll put myself on mute and let you take it from there. How about that?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So, South Carolina, we have a few different examples that we've done over the years, as long, and also a new one that we're trying out this year that we'll get to at the end. But Scout Day, a lot of teams do that. We use Scout Day, we do mainly for football, but we cross over to other sports. But for football specifically, we use it as a fundraiser opportunities for the different councils in the state. How it works on the back end is they add a $5 donation to their tickets. Usually does about 1,000 tickets for the football game. And you can see on the screenshot there's the different councils across the state that as they're buying their ticket, they can pick the one they're affiliated with so that the donation money goes to their council. And that helps them fundraise for their events they have, any trips they're going on. But we have great success with that. Plus, they get a cool pregame experience for the football game. We take them down to the sideline pregame, and has that proven success over the years with Scout Day. And we can go to the next one. Aaron, I believe, is one of the biggest ones we do. So, family weekends. So, being a university, family weekend's a big thing. This is all student families that come to town. It'll usually around mid to late September is when these weekends happen, and it's always aligned with the football game. So we do in partnership with athletics, and then the department with the University, the Family and Parent Programs department, we set up a FEVO offer. It has different options for people to pick. They can. It includes football tickets and all the family weekend events in one package, or they can just do the family weekend event without the football ticket. But really big event that goes on. It says there, we raised over $500,000 for that department. 8,000 packages sold, about 6,000 of that were football tickets. And that always helps us selling out that football game each year. And the university, the old way we used to do this wasn't through FEVO. A little more old school is how they used to do it. But once, we got FEVO on board here years back, it's now become the regular thing. And they love the platform and how easy it is for the buyer, for the families to buy their tickets and events. And as we've seen an increase in those orders because of the easy, purchase process for everyone. But that's one of our biggest events, being Family Weekend each year, both for athletics and for the, other departments on the university. It's a great one to have for any, college out there. And then our cheer and dance team. So we have our Carolina girls dance team, and then our cheer squad as well. We help them with, this is really for basketball. We do different offers throughout the year. They do cheer clinics and dance clinics. Junior Gamecock girls is what one of them is called. And part of that is a kind of whole package where they get a pre-game clinic with the cheer team and the dance performers. Young girls come in and they get a clinic before the game. They get a t-shirt, and then it helps fundraise for our teams. So the cheer and dance teams use that as an opportunity to fundraise. You can see there averages about 10,000 per team each event that we have, and helps us with selling usually around 100 plus, sometimes into the 300 range tickets, because we get the performers, the young performers, and then their families come out. It's a whole big event that supports our athletic teams here, and has had great success over the years. And same thing here, where it evolved from being order forms coming in to now being a FEVO page that we can make in a split second, make any updates, looks great, can be shared easily with all the different groups that need to purchase. So great to see this one evolve into what it is today, thanks to the features that we have. And then hop to this one. So this is the new one for this year that we're looking at. So Dawn Staley, great women's basketball coach that we have here, a little bit short in the Final Four this year, but fans love her here. She's brought 2 national championships here, and there's an event going on later this month, the Celebration of Dawn Staley event. And same thing here, where this is a partnership between our athletic department and then the Giving at South Carolina department on campus to fundraise. So FEVO page is set up for it, has a couple options on that page. You can see the screenshot there, $215 for a single guest ticket, and then also has the option for a table of $2,500. And new event, so we'll see where it pans out, but just shows the versatility of now this is not even an athletic event, this is a banquet. You know, it's a fundraising event that goes towards the Dawn Staley Champions Fund, which does scholarships across this, you know, through that fund. And we have Robin Roberts as a special guest, so it's a really cool event. And it's awesome to see, you know, where we've been using FEVO for athletic tickets, but now the university on their side and the other departments see how easy to use, and they ask us about doing events like this and using that order page. And this is a great example of that, crossing over into not just tickets to a game, but tickets to a side event and banquet like this. So all really good examples that we do here. But the main emphasis there is for any colleges, universities, is working with the other departments at your school, because they're always looking for fundraising opportunities to benefit their efforts, and then your own athletic teams could be looking to do fundraising. So just some examples that we do here, but thanks, Aaron, for letting me share everything with you.
Yeah, no, of course. I think a couple things on yours, Blake, that I think are really interesting, right? You're partnering with campus or even different areas, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be campus related, but I think oftentimes the right hand's not talking to the left a little bit, even within athletic departments or professional organizations themselves, right? If you can be that transaction engine, and Blake, correct me if you feel differently, but one, it's a data grab for you, right? I mean, if
Yep.
people are selling something, why not let that data flow in where it can become leads for the, you know, all 4 of us, or at least me formerly, and you guys currently are, you know, are looking to sell tickets in different ways, in different manners, and you can take and parse that data itself, right? This is a pretty high-end event. Potentially they could become athletics donors, potentially they could become season ticket holders. You know, on a scout day, maybe that leads to, you know, youth sports day or family 4-packs or whatever that. So that data is super valuable and important as it can flow through. And I think that's probably going to be a theme of a lot of what we're talking about. But thank you, Blake. David, we're going to let you get rolling. Ohtani on the hill tonight. Now I'm jealous I'm not at that game. So yeah.
It's actually a day game today. We got for us at least a 1 o'clock start. So throw it on in your office, everyone, while you're at work today. Should be a fun one.
Absolutely. It will be turned on here shortly. Perfect. So if you can speak to this one, obviously I know you guys had a ton of success here and are looking to expand on that. So I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So this program, last year was the very first year we did a formal school fundraising program. We'd always had kind of a loose program that was more of like, just pick a game and we'll figure out what fundraising makes sense. And, you know, you want a weekend, great, weekday, great. But we really set out to kind of formalize something and emphasize this area because we felt that we weren't really getting what we needed to from it. And our whole goal in setting out and creating a program was we wanted to create something that was so easy that people couldn't really say no to it. If you think about, you know, all these organizations we're going after, they have a lot of options when it comes to fundraising. They can do the chocolate bars, they can do, you know, holiday wrapping paper, galas, golf tournaments. Like there's just so many different ways to fundraise out there that to be at the top of their list, you either need to have something that is going to help them raise a ton of money or something that is not going to take up a lot of their time. Because I feel like that's one of the biggest success points in this program is like our whole pitch is to pitch. This is so easy. You send out a link. That's it. You don't have to worry about collecting money, collecting RSVPs, distributing tickets, any of that stuff. So when our reps are pitching this to PTA presidents on the phone, it's all about how easy this is. Like, great, do your other fundraisers as well, but there's no reason not to do this. And I think that's a reason we've been able to get in with quite a few schools. The flip side of this too is on our end, we're discounting the tickets pretty significantly. We're taking our lower level inventory by the foul poles. For a lot of MLB teams, that's usually inventory you have some flexibility with. And we're being strategic with our game selections, of course. We're picking mostly games during the week, a handful of Sundays, doing it mostly early in the year here, April, May, when school's still in session. And we're taking what normally is kind of a $30-ish ticket, and we discounted it down to $10, threw on a $6 fundraiser, and then the user pays $16 when it's all said and done. So we knew that, hey, if we're going to be selling $10 tickets, we're going to need to sell a lot of tickets to kind of make an impact here. And just as important, if we're going to be selling $10 tickets, we got to make sure this isn't going to bog us down operationally. And it's got to be efficient for us to run and operate as well. It's something we're very conscious of when we're making decisions on what programs to pursue, because just like all the PTA presidents that have a million options on what to choose for fundraising, we have a lot of different options to choose on how to pursue new business. And this has to be more impactful for us than using that same time to go out and hunt companies or hunt some other type of business. So that's where FEVO really comes in here. Is it makes it very, very simple for us to execute on this. We're doing our FEVOs through open inventory, so we're not reserving seats for any of these. If we were reserving seats, I can tell you this wouldn't work. This program would not work for us because then a couple weeks before the game, you've got to drop seats, and then parents call back, oh, can we add one more ticket for a family member that's coming in from out of town? All right, we have to go and upload another seat on the FEVO. There'd be a lot of moving parts for us if that were the case, but we're doing them through open inventory. It allows us to leave them open right up until game time. And then I love the points Tessa made earlier about kind of a lot of the advantages of using FEVO, easy to execute from a check standpoint. We love that FEVO handles the first line of customer service defense. If people have questions about their purchase, those go to FEVO, and then the ones that need to be escalated get routed to us. So all of these little things that kind of seem minor really, really contribute to making this a very efficient program for us, and one of the reasons it's successful, and we're looking to expand on it for this year. So in our first year, we did $127,000 in revenue. We sold 12,700 tickets, and then we raised $76,000 for local schools in the area. And we're evolving this program. Just because it was successful doesn't mean that we can't improve on it. So one thing we did after a lot of success in April and May, we doubled down on it for September, knowing we had some games at the end of the year too, that we could still maybe get some of these groups back and make this a twice-a-year thing. We feel like there's a lot of more revenue opportunity for us as well. Selling $10 tickets is great, and we're happy to do it. It's great to get volume of people out here to the ballpark, and we want to make sure that price point is low enough that the people that are buying these tickets may not necessarily be big baseball fans or Angel fans. A lot of them are doing it to support the school. We want to make sure the price point is at a point where they don't feel like, man, I got to spend $200 to do this. I don't know if that's something we can swing. But one thing we toyed around with a little bit at the end of last year, and we're doubling down on this year, is offering some higher price points. Because while some people might only come out if they can get a ticket within their budget, other people might only come out if they can get a lower level seat, or if they can get something close to the between the bases. So you can see our flyer there. Some of the seating areas that we added, basically the two better ones, kind of in the darker pink and the darker blue, club MVP seats and field all-star tickets. We still discounted these pretty significantly to about half price, but we're talking $30 or $40 tickets now. And we found that by offering this, just by offering it as an option, we're not taking away the lower price tickets. About 20 to 25% of people are going for it. And just by strictly offering these options, every one of those sales is 3x or 4x the revenue of the previous one. We're going to double our revenue this year, if we end up doing the same number of tickets. So this has been a really nice find for us, and we're really excited to see this program continue to grow through FEVO.
Yeah, David, you nailed it. I think there's a lot of points there that I loved. I think you're right. And I'll take myself as, because I think, look, with fundraisers in general, oftentimes most of the time there's a youth element to that in almost every case, right? Not always, but probably 75-80% of the time. And parents of youth, I'm a parent of 3 little boys. It depends on who I'm bringing as to what kind of audience I am, right? I think oftentimes we over segment a little bit, but if I'm bringing my 4-year-old, now I guess just turned 5-year-old, we're going to be in the cotton candy line the whole time. I'll probably buy the cheapest seat, right? But if I'm bringing my older son or my spouse or a friend or a colleague, much more likely to want a better seat. So I think your guys' idea behind that will prove super fruitful for you. Obviously, hopefully that's the case, but loved it. If you don't make it easy for people, it's kind of the ethos of FEVO, right? In general, the way we try to sell tickets is make it super simple and easy, like Amazon does, or other companies that have kind of taken over the world from a digital sales perspective. It's the same idea of, if it's difficult for someone to work with you to fundraise, they're going to find another option, right? There's a million different ways. You mentioned them, right? Bake sales and auctions and all the golf tournaments, et cetera. If you don't present yourselves as the easiest or one of the easier of those, at least to add it on, it's gonna have its battles for sure. Okay, so we got a few questions that came in. I'm trying to read this off my phone here too as well. So David, I think this is mostly applies to you, but anybody feel free obviously to answer. Can you speak to the success of sort of high school teams, kind of like booster clubs or booster programs related to a specific sport? Potentially, I tested that might fall in your world, or Blake, you guys may have done some of that too, but have you guys seen more of like the high school athletics, or I guess any sort of like sport club team be a part of this, or has it been traditional school stuff for you guys? I can sort of answer on my side, but would love to kick it to you guys first.
Sure, yeah, I can start off here. So based on the success of this program, we actually have doubled down, and we are doing the exact same thing. We just literally took our Angels school fundraising program flyer, crossed out school fundraising, and put youth sports fundraising. The program is identical. So we're targeting that now to different youth sports leagues in the area. Got a nice hit with the basketball league that's already up to a few hundred tickets. Swimming, water polo, we got a lot of beach sports here in Southern California. So we're doing the exact same pitch. It's easy, raise money for your team, do travel, all that stuff. And then on the high school level, we have a number of other programs too. We have a choir program, band, dance, high school baseball, cheer, that we're already involved in a lot of high school fundraising initiatives. So for us, this program was primarily targeted at elementary schools, knowing that, hey, at high school level, there's definitely some schools that we should be doing business with that we're not, but we know that almost every elementary school out there is not doing a fundraiser with us, and they should be. So I think, if we weren't already working with so many other high schools on other fundraisers for specific teams and clubs, we would absolutely get, this would be our number one priority in the off season. But we want to be a little sensitive to make sure that, if the dance team is using us to fundraise for their dance night, they got to sell 100 tickets to be part of a pregame performance. We want to make sure that we're not introducing multiple competing fundraisers at the same school, where the dance team might be like, hold on, we're trying to sell 100 tickets, but now all of a sudden the high school's PTA is also blasting out a link to all the parents. So we're trying to walk that line a little bit and make sure that we're positioning our clients to be successful, but at the same time, obviously getting our fundraising opportunities out to maximum number of people.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's really a smart way to go about it. I can speak to some other partners just that FEVO has that have done things in a similar way. Oftentimes we have, let's take a youth baseball league, youth basketball league, whatever, and each team will kind of have its own link or a promo code specifically, either way, kind of to Tessa's point earlier. And we sort of do let those compete against each other sometimes, not for, because it's not necessarily the same audience, but for experiential type things, or if you hit a certain tier, you get X, Y, or Z, right? If my club or my team or my school raises the most money, maybe they get to do an on-field or on-court activation, something like that. So there are absolutely ways to incentivize that sharing and that growth, because PTO, PTA presidents, moms of all these kids, they want the best possible experience for their kids. So I think that's a great outlook, and there's different ways to make it competitive but not cannibalize, and I think you're doing a really good job with how you said that, David. Another quick question, anybody can take this one, or I can. You kind of hit on it a little bit, David, but do you guys recommend like certain sections for fundraiser programs? You recommend opening it up throughout an entire arena, stadium, etc. What are you guys' thoughts there philosophically around what that could or should look like?
I'll jump in. I would kind of echo what David said earlier. I think when we started this, we really were looking to offer the cheapest ticket possible to get as many people into the stadium and raise as much as we could. But over time, we're in the same boat. We found that there are people that want to spend a little bit more, sit in better locations, and still raise money. So on our end, we're definitely trying to offer more price points and locations to help that, because I think people ultimately have different tastes and budgets of what they want to spend as a whole. So we're trying to be more intentional about that as we've learned a little bit throughout this.
Yeah, definitely would echo that across just our experience with a lot of different organizations. Is exactly what you said, Tessa, right? There's people with different budgets with different interests, right? If you're just casual person and, hey, I want to help my kid's school, but I don't really care about soccer or baseball or football or whatever. I'm just a casual fan, and maybe I don't care. Or maybe, hey, I'm only coming to one game and I want to spend as much as I can and get the best possible seat. Blake, just had one come in for you. Have you guys used FEVO fundraising with any like high schools? Is there any sort of compliance issues that you've been made aware of related to any of that type of stuff?
Yeah, that's what in the first question I think kind of was asking about it. Yeah, we don't really venture into the high school fundraising too much. We focus more on the youth. There's always that gray area. Sometimes we have to walk the line a little bit. We'll still like do group tickets for high school teams if they're needing a group. We just be careful about like experiences and things like that. That's where the anything exclusive for them is where the line kind of is. We offer group tickets just in general to anyone, but for our fundraising side is more focused on the youth level, not so much on high school. So
yeah,
because of just the questions that come up sometimes with that specific area.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I will say, and this is a new area for everyone, I guess. We've started dabbling a little bit in the NIL world. If you're not familiar with the university side of things, name, image, and likeness is now a deal where student athletes can get paid for their name, image, or likeness. So there's some collectives out there that we've got some creative partners who have worked through that with us, and some, I wouldn't call it specific fundraising, but it's handled in the same manner. So if you have questions like that, feel free, obviously, to reach out to your partner success rep for those who are out there, or directly to me if you want. But there's definitely ways to work within it. Obviously, we want to work within the confines of the NCAA and other, regulations around it. Another quick question that came in: do you guys, any of you guys, and I can speak to this if not, because I've got some teams who do, but do you guys loop in any other incentives for organizations who reach higher amounts, right? Like, hey, top fundraiser gets X, top organization gets Y, et cetera. Do any of you guys do that? If not, I can certainly speak to it, but.
Just our benefit tiers. We don't do much of the competitions between schools, but we do if your school reaches a certain amount, then we'll do autograph items or player experiences and stuff like that. And we find that impactful because it really encourages those groups to sell and extend those to more in the community, but not so much on the competing side for us, at least.
Sure. No, I think that's fairly common. There are some that do, to answer the question, that the Pacers are one that comes to mind. They work with basically every school, elementary school in the city of Indianapolis, and they kind of have some custom fields, which if you're not familiar, we can build those into the checkout flow. Things like, what school are you with? Who's your teacher? What's your class name? What grade are you in, et cetera. And the school that raises the most money or sells the most tickets, I guess I should say, they had Ben Matherin, who was a first round pick, go and do like a pep rally at the school, which is kind of cool. And then the class, I'm trying to get this right, so if I miss it, it's close. But basically, the class that sells the most, they got to do like the high five tunnel, and then the student who sold the most got to meet a player. So there's some kind of one-off type things, and then also the tiering is really, really smart. Where, hey, if I reach X, Y, or Z, or if my organization does, then we get whatever that may be, autographed items or different things, stuff that oftentimes has a lot of value, but may not cost you, the organization, a whole lot of money. Things like, hey, if I have a player sign football, that costs us $30 or whatever for the ball, but could potentially mean a lot to a fan out there. So I think that's really smart. Okay, I think we're close to wrapping up here, guys. Questions are kind of coming through. The last question I would have for you guys, I guess, is anybody can take this, or you can all take it, whatever. Kind of what advice would you have? I think you guys have these and you've built these programs, but now they're kind of established, not that they're running themselves. You're always iterating on those, but what advice would you have for some, head of sales out there, or a rep, or whoever's listening in, saying like, how do I start, right? How do I get this off the ground? How can I actually grow, a fundraising program? Would anybody want to take that one? Hopefully somebody will take that off my hands. I can certainly speak to it, but what are you guys' thoughts on how do I get going on this? How do I get my audience engaged?
Yeah, we just went through this last off season because, again, we had 0 kind of organized fundraising programs in the past, and we just set out. We felt like this was going to be one of our big initiatives. So we identified it. We basically took all of Orange County and looked up all the elementary schools, and we assigned 4 reps. All right, you're covering these regions, and whatnot. And then they were tasked with building out a database of all of the elementary schools in the area, contacts and whatnot. And then we equip them with a flyer. Because I think if you call into a school or you have a conversation with someone, I just feel like you want to maintain a certain level of flexibility. But if you have kind of a set, hey, here's the program, here's what it is, it's something they can kind of say yes or no to. Whereas if you go in and say, well, we can do any game, and at the price, we can do any price points you want, it makes it a little bit more challenging and a little bit more of kind of a negotiation. So we felt it was important to just create something and get that in front of people, and then we knew we could always adjust and kind of see how it went. So I think building out that database, it was a little bit labor intensive, certainly to go through it once. It's a lot of schools and it's a lot of contacts, and PTA presidents are constantly being updated. But we targeted it specifically for our off season. Right, the moment we had our last game, like the next really 2, 3, 4 weeks, we really spent building out that database and starting to craft this thing up. So I think you put some structure to the program, build out your database, and just assign however many reps you feel like is the right amount, and make sure that you're targeting it at the right time. Because if your opening day, for example, is 2 days away, it's probably not the right time to be prospecting new schools. You're probably busy harvesting a lot of the prospecting you did in the months leading up to it.
Yeah, I love that. I think to your point, lay it out for them. Say, hey, here's what it is. Check yes, I want to do it. No, I don't. Right? There's no reason really not to do it if you want to fundraise for your organization. So I think that's super valuable. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up really quick. The last point I want to make, and Blake, you guys do a good job of this, but you can have these links live not just on your page, not just on your site, but they can live on the school's website, the church website, the youth league, et cetera. So it's really, really valuable to think about meeting people where they are and collecting that data and having them purchase. So it is definitely something I would recommend to the fundraisers themselves. Like, hey, we'll put this link. It can live on your, whatever that page is, because I think there's value in grabbing people as they, in their everyday walk of life. They may not be on the Angels, South Carolina, Atlanta United, or another team's website as much as they might be in their own world. So making sure you're reaching where they are is really, really important. But guys, thank you so much. It couldn't be more appreciative for you guys jumping on. Blake, we didn't give Dan enough hell on this, so we'll have to figure that out later. But guys, thank you so much. Really, really enjoyed the conversation and look forward to speaking again really soon.